Welcome to Total Leadership TV. I'm very pleased today to welcome Frances Hesselbein, who has joined us for conversation today. Frances is the founding president of the Peter Drucker Foundation, which is now the Leader to Leader Institute, and she is the former CEO of the Girl Scouts of the U.S.A. Welcome, Frances. It's great to have you here.
I'm so honored to be here.
Well, we're very pleased to have you. And our conversation today is going to be about leadership and the whole person, and what you've learned about that from your own experience, and what it is that you teach about that in your role as a mentor, as a CEO, as a leader, as a citizen, and as a friend. So let's just jump right in. If you would just tell us, what is it that you do right now? What is your primary responsibility in the work part of your life?
Well, my primary responsibility is to be faithful to the mission of Leader to Leader, to strengthen the leadership of the social sector and their partners in business and government. Mm-hmm. This means 25 books in 28 languages on leadership. It means flying twice a week somewhere, speaking to leaders in all three sectors, and 3 times a year somewhere in the world, abroad. Mm-hmm. Last year, Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia. This year, 2008, I'll be speaking in South Africa and China, Tibet. Mm-hmm. I try to be very disciplined, however, no more than twice a week, and I spend a third of my time college, university campuses, a third with corporations, mm-hmm. a third the social sector organizations. And in the middle of the thirds, a chunk of time with the Chief of Staff of the United States Army and his people. So it's balanced. I move across the sectors. It's all about leadership. It's all about ethics. It's all about collaboration. It's all about transformation and the future.
The future. What is it that you think of when you think of the word leadership? In other words, how do you define this elusive term?
I have my own definition. Now, we all have to define leadership in our own way. And it's very painful, especially if you say to yourself, well, you ought to be able to describe it in one powerful sentence. Mm-hmm. After all, it's the life you're living, mm-hmm. and yet you start speaking in several sentences. So after a lot of introspection, also known as agonizing, I came up with my own one-sentence definition.
What is it?
Leadership is a matter of how to be, not how to do. Now, you and I spend most of our lives learning how to do and teaching other people how to do. Mm-hmm. But we know, in the end, it is the quality and character of the leader that determines the performance, the results. And I keep testing that. That has been my definition since the 5th year with Girl Scouts of the U.S.A. I keep testing it. It's what I believe. It's what I experience. It's what I've lived.
And you've tested it against the reality of your own experience and
yes.
what you've seen. And
the great leaders I observe. Mm-hmm. Leadership to them is not a lot of slogans, and they have values on a nice plaque in a boardroom, mm-hmm. and they stay there. No. The great leaders I observe in all three sectors, the emerging leaders, they have their own values, mm-hmm. and they work as we all do. We try to live the values.
Yes. Yes, and one of the most important aspects of the total leadership approach, about which I've been writing and speaking, mm-hmm. teaching, is the struggle to align your actions with your values and ways of doing that. So we focus on that in the total
Every
leadership.
day, it's the discipline. You can't say, you look at in a business or any enterprise, you can't say grandly, oh, our people are our greatest asset, and then you treat them solely as cost. No. But when the people of an organization observe the leader is living those values, the walking embodiment of the principles and values,
Yes.
what happens? Morale goes up, motivation goes up, productivity goes up. Yet, the opposite happens when the leader voices lovely, lofty sentiments and then behaves in the opposite way. Down goes morale,
Yes.
motivation, productivity.
So being consistent and aligned between your actions and your values is really essential. And yet we don't see it enough in our society, in our world. Why do you think that is? What makes it so hard to act in a way that is in concert with one's values as a leader?
I believe that for some time, messages have been beamed from leaders in all three sectors that, well, maybe you cut edges a little bit, or maybe changing lives is not our bottom line. Maybe it is squeezing every nickel is our bottom line, no matter how we do it. I think, we've had too few leaders who stand up and say, this is what we believe. When they do, it is very inspiring.
It's powerful.
Powerful.
And as you say, it motivates, it energizes.
Yes.
So why don't we see more people
People are
acting
so
that way?
busy focusing on the wrong things. And if they ever focused on, well, I happen to believe the organization has to be a learning organization. We all learn and grow. The mission comes first. Whether we are the largest corporation, the United States Army, it doesn't matter. Their warrior ethos states we will always place the mission first. Now, when I was with the Girl Scouts, every work I've ever done, I always said we have to manage for the mission. We manage for innovation. We manage for diversity. You can't do two of them. All three. We're mission-focused, values-based, demographics-driven. Now that's simple, but powerful. And then we observe, are we living that?
And you observe it by getting people to tell you if you are acting in a way that's consistent with your
consciously, mission? Board and staff, we revisit the mission. Are we being faithful? Is everything we're doing furthering the mission? And the mission is solely why we do what we do, our reason for being. Leader to leader has to strengthen the leadership of the social sector and leaders everywhere. Well, we don't undertake a project that doesn't further that mission. No matter how nice it is, if it doesn't further the mission, we say, well, thank you very much. Maybe we help them find another partner.
Staying focused on the mission is not easy. If it were, we'd see a lot more companies doing it, a lot more organizations doing it.
Right.
So how do you manage to do that? By what means do you get feedback or critical support from the important stakeholders in your world so that you do make the right choices and do align your actions with your values?
Every piece of stationery, on every report, on the annual report, on everything, on your website, there's the mission. When I was with the Girl Scouts, Peter Drucker says your mission should fit on a T-shirt. We see missions that have 4 and 5 sentences. So you keep thinking, T-shirt, why do we do what we do? What is their reason for being with the Girl Scouts? To help each girl reach her own highest potential. Always remembering, it's not about bigness, being the largest in the world. No. One girl, each girl, her own highest potential. Leader to leader, to strengthen the leadership of the social sector. It's all about leadership, about strengthening all the resources, all the materials. How do we help leaders become stronger, mission-focused, values-based?
And everyone has occasion to be tempted to stray from what they know is important in their lives and who they want to be. So we rely on the people around us who we trust to tell us when we're not.
Well, almost every organization has a board responsible for governance, and we have a management accountable for managing the organization. We're all mission focused. And the leadership, the chairman of the board, the president, CEO, and every member of the board watches very carefully because this is their responsibility. And if someone brings in this marvelous, wonderful project, has nothing to do, would never further the mission, but a lovely thing to do.
Right.
And it has some money attached.
Right.
You have to have the courage,
You're
the
tempted.
managerial courage to say, we'd love to have that $500,000, but it isn't why we do what we do. It doesn't further the mission. Now, suppose you have an organization totally focused on dogs, and our mission has this powerful doggy mission. You come to me and you say, I'll give you $1 million. I love what you do for animals, but I don't like dogs. I like cats. What do I say? Oh, we don't like dogs. We like cats. Of course not. We say, well, thank you very much. But this organization is designed to meet the very special needs of. And so it takes this kind of courage. But when we close one door because it doesn't further it, it doesn't support it, it really isn't why we do what we do, we find when we have the courage to say, well, thank you very much, another door opens. It's even a greater opportunity. So this sharp mission focus.
I would suggest that the same thing is true for individuals.
Yes, absolutely. Why do I do what I do? Why do you do what you do? This is very personal, but you've been asking me very personal questions. I have a belief that to serve is to live. There are all kinds of ways to serve. And then I have my own values and beliefs. And there's something, call it the whispers of our lives or the spirit within or the leader within, there's something here that if we listen, tells us where we should be going, what we should be doing. We know it. Now we try to maybe push it down. No, I want to go another direction. We're never comfortable. I have a feeling about myself, and you would describe it in a different way, but this is my language. I think I'm called to do what I do. It's very clear calling. And when you do what you're supposed to be doing, what you're called to do, it's amazing. You're given the energy to do it. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know all the terms for this. But in my life, it plays out.
Well, in mine too. And indeed, that's what I'm trying to do with my work in total leadership, is to have people pursue the things that they care most about, that are closest to their hearts, and to the hearts and minds of the people that are most important to them.
Absolutely, where you can make the greatest difference.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about. Leadership is a matter of how to be.